a turning point of folks stuck in the road. Time grabs you by the wrist, directs you where to go. So make the best of this test and don't ask why. It's not a question, but a lesson learned in time. Something unpredictable, but in the end it's right. I hope you have the time of your life. Something unpredictable, but in the end it's right. I hope you have the time of your life. Welcome to the Untethered podcast, streaming live to you from the internet. And now, here's your host, Jake Johnson.
What's happening, everybody? Jake Johnson coming to you live from the internet. Oh, it's good to be back. I missed Wednesday. I slept through the whole thing. I had a big day. I had to get my buddy off to go into the hospital. He's there now. I have no idea because nobody's called me to let me know how he's doing. As far as I know, he's still in surgery. But I've been thinking about him and hoping he pulls through all right. It's a pretty serious thing he's going through, but I think he's going to be fine. He's a tough dude. Got the will to live. A lot of prayer behind him. So we'll see. Enough about that, though. I apologize for missing on Wednesday. I had my hands full. And, Great Sky Troll, what's happening, buddy? You think you found it. And I think Wife Vader will go for it. Well, if you think you found it, let's hear it. What you got? There's a bunch of property for sale up here. North Carolina is cold, but it's nice. 5 acres. All right. Where? Saudi Arabia? Sudan? California? Are you moving to Egypt? Don't go too far. Just outside of town. With a creek and all hardwood. What's up, Kev? Good to see you, buddy. You mean just outside the town you're in? So you're not going very far? That's good. Like 15 old pecan trees. Well, if you gotta move, moving close by is the way to go. It makes the trip a lot easier. You can grow a lot of prawns on 5 acres, says Kevin. Might as well go for lobsters if you got that much room. Or, go crazy and get a goat. So you think you found it. You think you'll be happy there. Is there already a house? Well, you said hardwood floor, so I'm assuming the house is already there. You have a plan. I have a plan. Not sure contraction would go there, but I understand your meaning. I don't think there's anything in the rule book that says you can't use a contraction to start a sentence. No buildings. Just a house. Thank God it's Friday. Yes, thank God it's Friday. Right now, my buddy is neck deep in surgeons. He's been in surgery all day. I don't know if he's out yet or not. I don't know how the surgery went yet, but we're waiting to see. I'll find out either tonight or in the morning. So is this place still considered Sandersville, or is it Wren's, or what? I've considered that, buying a piece of property and just pitching a tent, building a log cabin. But now I have property, so I'm okay with it. I don't need to do that anymore. This is where I'll be when I go, so I don't have to worry about it. It's literally just outside the border. Got it. I'm trying to picture where it is. Is it off of Highway 24, or is it on the other side? It's all second growth hardwoods. I got you. Oh, when you said hardwood, you were talking about the trees, not the house. Sports update. March Madness started today. I don't know what that is. What's March Madness? Is that like a football thing? I'm assuming it's a football thing, because you seem to like football. When it's annexed, I'll sell it in lots and more further, and move further. That's probably a smart thing to do. Get your money out of it. Finally, our sportscaster has something to report. Yeah, there hadn't been any sports on in a while, has there? Couple months. I think the sports that is being played in empty arenas. I think people are finally starting to go back outside, though. Oh, it's a basketball tournament. Okay. Sounds good to me. March Madness college basketball tournament. April will be on soon. Good. I'll get the whole gang here. I'll play some music and expound on some information that I come across to help prove a point I made over the weekend, and to shore up one of the things that I believe. And also to expound on some information about a boat. It's kind of interesting, the particular boat that's in question. I mean, it doesn't really mean anything, but it's interesting. This particular piece of information is aimed directly at those people who think the Bible is just a book that somebody wrote. Has no intrinsic value or meaning. Just a book, man. Why would you trust an old book? It's just an old book written by people that wrote with chicken bones. Wait till you hear what I got to say about a particular boat. Hey, April. What's happening? Good to see you. Good to see you. Glad everybody's here. Well, not everybody, but most everybody. I'm going to call Mommy, BRB. Aloha, Ohana. Good to see you too. We were just talking about what we were going to get into this afternoon. Take your time. We're not going anywhere. It's something unbelievable, but in the end, it's right. Knowing that, you can have the time of your life. So, Kev, what's new this week? Y'all got anything going on? Or you just same old, same old? I got to see my boy today. That was pretty fun. Had a great conversation. I swear my kid's so smart, and he keeps me thinking all the time. Yeah, I mean, because I know a lot of stuff. But he asks some questions that make me scratch my head sometimes. For example, he's 15 years old. And today, one of the many things that we were discussing was the moral efficacy of gene splicing and being able to alter babies before they're born. Like, with that new technology they have called CRISPR, they can edit DNA and come up with things like different eye colors and different traits and things like that. Theoretically, I don't know if they've done it yet or not, but theoretically they can do it now. And apparently he saw something that got his mind going, and he wanted to talk about that and what it would implicate, and the meaning of that and what that would mean for people. And had anybody tried anything like that before? Diego, what's happening? Good to see you, buddy. We're just sitting around shooting the breeze, having a good old Friday. Finally Friday, thank God. Good to see you too. What's new in your life? You got anything going on? Anything special happened to you this week? How did my friend do? He's in surgery right now. I haven't heard whether he's made it through or not. As far as I know, he's right smack in the middle of it. And nobody's called me to let me know he's made it out or he's in recovery yet or anything like that. So I'll either find out tonight or in the morning, and then we'll go from there. But he's a fighter. He's a strong fella, so I think he'll pull through. There's very serious surgery he's going through. Don't seem like much, but they're right there on his spinal cord, going through the front of his neck to get to the back of his neck. They crushed 2 or 3 vertebrae, crushed it into powder so they could get around it. And there's a mass growing on his spinal cord that they're going to cut off and hopefully not paralyze him. I was absent Wednesday because I had my hands full, and I did apologize for that at the beginning of this episode, and explained what I was doing. I was dealing with him and being the last day of his freedom and all. And then by the time I got home, I was so tired that I just went to sleep and slept through the 8:30. I spent the whole day with him, though. Hanging out with his friends and being sociable. And plus, we had a lot of weather, and it was sleeping weather, so I slept. I needed it. But more importantly, as far as I know, he's still doing okay. I imagine they would call me if something went wrong. And my phone hasn't rang, so that no news is good news, as they say. And thank you for your concern, and thank you for asking for him. I'll be sure to tell him when I speak to him that people were asking about him and worried about him. But I'll make up for it tonight. I'll make up for Wednesday tonight. I'll go like a lumberjack all night long. Whatever. How's your week been treating you? Great Sky Troll has found him a piece of property he wants to invest in. He's thinking about parceling it out and making a little profit. It's a pretty smart move. You know, one of the things, the best thing there is to invest in is land, because they don't make any more of that. All there is already here. There won't be no more made. So if you can get you some, that's a good investment. Better to hang on to it, but if you could turn a profit and still end up with more land, that's pretty smart too. Where'd you guys go? You disappeared on me. So as I was saying earlier, I'm going to clarify a couple of words that we used over the weekend, over the Bible study, and explain the meaning thereof. And concerning a particular boat in the story we read on Monday, I'm going to shed some light on the origin of that boat and who built it and who those people are and what that means. And that is directed to the people who call the Bible just a book. I've had a lot of people tell me over the years, why would you trust an old book written by people that don't understand anything? They wrote with chicken bones on animal skins. They don't know anything. Well, turns out they do. And it's a very trustworthy book, and I'm about to show you one way how that is. And that all things are connected. All things are tied together. All things are symbiotic. All things in the world. There's nothing wasted. Everything in the world needs something else in the world to function. There's absolutely nothing wasted. That's how you know. You want proof there's a God? Look for a mistake. And I don't mean a mistake like what your idea of what the human body should look like, regarding those people who think the human body is poorly designed, because I defy you to do better. I bet you can't. I just want to see your improved hand. Just one hand. Just make one. Let's see how that works out for you. Make a toe that can do what our toes do. Those people that say things like that are childish idiots who have just enough education to make themselves dangerous to themselves. But they're not going to affect any real change in the world or actually do anything because they don't actually know anything. They just like to boast idiotic statements like the human body is poorly designed. Really? Well, let's see what your heart looks like, the one you made. What about your eyeball? Can you do better than the one that's in my head? The bad one that needs glasses? I bet you can't make one as good as that. Or the apparatus in which it sits. The socket with the eyebrows and the lashes that keep things out without even doing it. It's automatic. Automatic cleaning system. You get something in your eye starts watering, it pushes it right on out. Show me anything else in the world that can do that and not break down. That's how you know. It's as simple as that. Find one thing on this earth, anywhere, that doesn't require something else to survive. And you'll have your answer. Yes or no. Is there a God or isn't there? Well, if there is a God, then everything should be designed to function. Everything should require fitting into a slot. If there is no God, and evolution is true, then there should be true random things in the world. I've never seen a random thing. I don't know about you. I've seen some things that I've called random, but they were not random. They were very instructed. Maybe they were random to me, but in the grand scheme of things, everything requires something else. Everything requires a measurement or a distance or a temperature or a weight or an amount. Every portion of living requires a certain amount of food to sustain that life. And a certain amount of waste comes from that. And even that waste is used as fertilizer for other things. Even when the human body dies, it goes back to the dust which it came from, further fertilizing the ground, causing it to grow more things. So energy isn't even wasted. Even energy is converted into other things. So that's how you know. It's a closed system. There is no outside source. There is no random happenstance. There is no perfectly illegitimate action. There's no sharks that developed laser beams, for example. You're stardust? That's what Carl Sagan says. I'd like you to prove it. I'd like you to show me which star you came from. The only dust you are, my friend, is coming from the ground you're standing on. That's where dust is. Stars don't have dust. They're on fire. They consume everything that's in them. And that would mean that if one blew up, then what would come off of it would naturally be ash if there were anything material on it to burn. You know that because you've burned things before. So you wouldn't be dust, you'd be ash, which is inert. Ash is inert. Ash doesn't grow anything. Ash doesn't have any molecules in it or any viable materials. It is the absence of that. So stardust you are not. That's just a clever thing to say that sounds really good on TV. But power to you if you believe that. Personally, I think that if a star is the same thing that we see in the sky that we call a sun, which I don't necessarily think it is, but if it's the same thing, then that thing is burning gases. And it's producing the gases that it's burning. And it's kept within its own gravitational field. It's constantly expanding and contracting, trying to explode and being pulled back together by its own gravity, which keeps it in an even keel. Kind of like when you set the vents just right on your wood stove, and it just has that perfect draft, and it makes the fire nice and fat inside, and everything just heats up. That's what the sun is doing. It's just perfectly balanced to burn. But there's nothing on the sun, no dirt, no trees, no anything material to burn. It's just gases and molecules and atoms and such. So when it burns out, if there is anything physical on it left, that will be ashes, because that explosion will be 10 times hotter than anything it does while it's alive. So there will be nothing left when it explodes. Not even dust. Don't believe me? Set a bonfire and see if you can find anything left when you're done. Anything usable. Anything you can reburn or, use for fertilizer. Although ash does have a purpose because it's high in carbon. That's what ash is. It's the burnt carbon of what was there is no longer there. The only thing left is the carbon that it was made of. So you can use that to add nitrogen to the ground, which when adding other things to it can be converted into a fertilizer, but it by itself will grow nothing. Wood ash. Yeah, wood ash is ash. It's just carbon. There's nothing left. You get my point? My best life, you cretin. Yeah. I left to order stuffed crust pizza and hot wings. Man, that sounds good. I haven't eaten anything today, so don't be tempting me. I got some eggs I'm going to cook up later. I haven't decided whether I'm going to hard fry them or boil them. Make deviled eggs. That's the life of a bachelor. I don't ever get home-cooked food because I'm lazy. So, anyway, I don't know that the stars in the sky are the same thing as the sun in our sky, because they're different colors for one thing, and they look different through a telescope for another thing. But they could be the same thing. But I don't know that they are. Neither does anybody else. It's a guess. It's a wild-ass guess. It's a scientific wild-ass guess. Swag. I would like to know. I would like to be up there looking around, but I don't think anybody can go out there that far. See, the Earth has to be a closed system. How do I know that? Because if space is a vacuum, then the atmosphere would be sucked right off of the Earth unless there was something between it and the gas that we breathe. Something strong enough to keep the suction out of the gas. That's just the nature of vacuums. I fucking guess I'm a stardust. That's a good guess. Good as any, I reckon. The Bible tells you you're dust, you're dirt, you're clay, but it's as good a guess as any. Scientifically, I mean. I've seen one supernova in my life. Apparently, they happen about every 30 years. And so, I don't recall being showered by any dust from it, but I know that they do occur. Never seen one form, but I've seen a couple blow up. More likely, I'm pig poo. Yep, that's what I'm saying. More than likely, we are products of whatever our parents ate when they were children. which form the material in which we were formed. And a lot of that inside stuff is what the mother uses to form the fetus in the first place. And then plus whatever they eat while they're pregnant adds to it. I don't really know how all that works. Nobody ever really explains that part. How the baby appears and then grows and there's nothing adding to it. But I would assume it comes from the inside of the mama somehow. Kind of like when they slough. Well, that's a little dirty. I won't get into all that. But just know that material is lost on a monthly basis. And I think that material may go into making a fetus. But that material is a product of what they consume. You are what you eat, quite literally. What you consume the most of is the most that's in your DNA. It's in your skin. It's in your pores. Like when you go to Olive Garden and then you smell like olive oil for the next 3 days. Or garlic. Because it's literally in your skin. People that eat a lot of carrots have a lot of keratin in their system and their skin turns orange because of it. Things like that. So whatever you are, you came from the environment you grew up in. If you grew up in England, you would have that White Cliffs of Dover dirt in you. But you came from Georgia, so you got red clay in you. Probably accounts for your complexion. That was a joke. This didn't come out like one. So, has April got back yet? She's still on the phone. And see, what I'm thinking, if the Earth is a closed system, and then on the outside of that are 2 layers of what we call a Van Allen radiation belt, which is a thick layer, depending on who you ask, different thicknesses of radioactive material, deadly enough you can't go through it. Swamp mud in my veins. Yeah. And so, that would complete the atmosphere, which extends out past the moon. And some scientists think it goes out probably as far as Jupiter, but I don't tend to agree with that. I don't think our atmosphere extends out that far, but it's possible. Our magnetic field may extend out that far. But I really don't think, she's still yabbering, I really don't think we can leave this closed system. I don't think we can get through it. It's possible that in the 30s and 40s, when they were doing all those nuclear tests and detonating all those bombs in the atmosphere, it's possible that that's when they created the Van Allen radiation belts. If not, then they were there to begin with. I have no way of knowing because nobody ever went up there before that, so nobody knows whether we put it there or it was there to begin with. Either way sounds good to me. I mean, they detonated some 40 nuclear bombs in the atmosphere. Why they did that, they never said, but I would suggest they were trying to break through God's fishbowl, considering they named the Operation Fishbowl, and the rocket program was named, what was it? I can't remember now. I think it was Donovan. Anyway, the word translates to God in some fashion, or from God. So they were trying to break the fishbowl from God. That was my interpretation of the story. You can look it up though, whatever the rocket program was that when they launched all the nuclear bombs into the atmosphere. I did know, but I forgot it now. Anyway, they detonated them in space up there. Made all kinds of wicked images in the sky. Circles and patterns. And they got pictures of it. Why they do something like that is beyond me, especially with a nuclear warhead, knowing that there's a such thing as fallout and all that material that didn't go into space is falling back down on us and going around the jet stream and covering the whole world with radiation. Makes no sense to me. Then they detonated a bunch of them in the desert and on islands and things like that. And so there's certain parts of the Midwest that the first 3 layers of dirt on the ground is radioactive. And if you mess with it, if you disturb it, you'll end up getting sick from it if you're out there long enough. That's what happened to the cast of that John Wayne movie where he played the Mongolian. They shot that in Arizona, and every one of the cast members ended up dying of cancer. And it's because they were out there in that dirt and messing around. They built their entire set out there. Somewhere in Genesis it says on the 5th day God created the Georgia Bulldogs. Look it up. I don't doubt that. There's April. We're talking about the finer points of creation. Anything you'd like to add? I was talking about all the nuclear tests they were doing on the atmosphere back in the 30s and 40s and 50s. And all the different weird things they were experiencing then. That was right around the same time that they signed a treaty. 108 countries signed a treaty saying that nobody is going to take Antarctica. Nobody's going to claim any rights to it. It's off limits. That's the first time and only time in history that more than one country wanted something and then agreed to not take it. No flag. No planting of a flag. Nobody took control of that situation. It's just out there. And you're not allowed to go there. Sure, you can if you got enough money, you can get a cruise to the edge of it, but you can't go inland. And if you look up Admiral Byrd, which was the military equivalent of Indiana Jones, he was a guy that did expeditions to Antarctica in those days. He's a decorated military officer, lots of medals. And he said that there was an area the size of the continental United States, that's America and Mexico, that no one has ever laid eyes on before. And it is fertile with all the materials that you would think you'd want. Gold and coal and diamonds and platinum and uranium. And he said that there were some places that were even green. It wasn't all ice. Now, he died before he got to go back, but in his diary he wrote some pretty interesting things about Antarctica. And it tends to make you wonder why so many countries would agree to keep their hands off of Antarctica and yet still visit on a regular basis. Fun fact, when Donald Trump was being inaugurated, while he was on the podium talking to the people, John Kerry and one of those guys from the Middle East and one of the popes were in Antarctica. They took an emergency trip to Antarctica. Isn't that weird? Wonder why they did that. I wonder what's in Antarctica. I wonder what they found down there. I'll tell you what I think it is. I think that's the place where the fallen angels are kept. The Bible talks about that. And says that they're imprisoned in the abyss. And I think that's where it is. But I can't prove that because I can't go there. And neither can anybody else. Then they had a guy that did a YouTube thing. And he bragged about it and it was all over the news and he was not allowed to go back. Who? Admiral Byrd? What did I miss? I missed something. Hang on. Oh, yeah. It is cold here. The Fourth Reich is there. That's what they say. I don't know if that's true or not. I've heard those stories too, but I don't put any stock in anything I can't see for myself. Or see evidence of. So anyway. There was this guy, young guy, was going to walk across Antarctica, right across the center of it. Going to film it on YouTube. Keep in mind, you can't leave anything in Antarctica. If you have to take a crap, you got to pick it up and carry it with you. You can't leave anything. You can't pollute at all. Period. You can't spit on the ground and get caught. It's against the law. Anything that you take that you need, you have to bring with you. And to walk across the continent, you're going to need food and water and shelter and all that stuff, which you got to carry with you. And if you're walking, no dog sleds, because dogs poo and they shed and they can't do any of that. No snowmobile, because it uses gas and you can't do any of that. He's on foot, dragging a canoe behind him full of his gear. Going to walk across Antarctica, and he films it on YouTube. Whole thing takes about a week, and he's done. And he takes GPS coordinates the whole way. It's a big to-do on YouTube. I mean, everybody was interested in that. Wanted to see, and the whole thing was like a blizzard whiteout the whole way he went. And he would film when he got done walking. He'd get in his little tent and film and talk and all that stuff. And every now and then there'd be a shot of him walking up a hill, dragging his canoe with him. Keep in mind that most of that's mountainous range. There are no roads. So you know he didn't walk across the damn continent. But if you study the GPS coordinates of where he was that entire time, there's a little peninsula that sticks off of the tip of Antarctica. It looks like a horn. Most of it's kind of round, and then there's a little point that sticks off of one side. That's what he walked across, that little tip. He didn't walk across the continent from north to south or from east to west. He walked across that little peninsula, and that's it. That's where he went. And that was him walking across Antarctica. That's the kind of expeditions we have today, so I lost faith in that almost immediately. Admiral Byrd was killed. I do not believe he committed suicide by jumping out a window 10 stories high. He was suppressed. Yeah, he jumped out of a window and landed on some bullets. That's the official story. At an insane asylum, which he was not crazy. So, go figure. But anyway, nobody has ever witnessed the interior of Antarctica. There's one video that I've been able to find, and it's from the 30s. Those big planes, those big hulky planes with the big engines, you know the kind like the Sea Goose kind of thing. There's one that flew across the coast, and you could look out into the abyss. But you couldn't get, there's no way they'd fly across it. So I'm fascinated by Antarctica and what the possibilities of what could be there. If there were civilizations there when it was not under ice, because there was a time not too long ago it was not fully iced over. There's maps that show Antarctica's interior under the ice, shows the landmass, which we only know because of radar. We wouldn't have known that because there's a glacier over most of it. We wouldn't have known where the land edges are unless we could penetrate the ice with radar and see it. But there's maps from the 1400s that show it, or further back probably. And then the English say they discovered it. They didn't discover anything. They stayed on a boat until they hit it. But that's not exactly discovering something. Blackbeard decided to sail around it. He made one continuous trip and logged about 80,000 miles and gave up. So he never circumnavigated it either. Now, you can look into that, and you'll know that he did, Blackbeard. And you'll know that he logged those miles. Whether he's correct or not is up for debate. But if he's correct, then the circumference of Antarctica is bigger than the whole of the circumference of the Earth if you add it all up. That's quite interesting. And he didn't complete the journey, so I don't know what that means. Where they were circling it. He could have been doing that. But seems like if you were from that era and you knew how to pilot a ship, then you would know how to pick your land masses and know where you are on the map. Using sextants and land markers and things like that. Buoys. Things that you could recognize. Seems like you'd know if that was the way you grew up traveling, you'd know how to do it. Doesn't seem likely to me that he was just going around it and around it and around it. But there's something on Antarctica that everybody wants to keep a secret. Whatever that something is beyond me, but it's there, whatever it is. Now, last Monday, we read a story about Paul. Yeah, Admiral Byrd, B-Y-R-D. Look into him. He's a fascinating character, and he's actually on one of the first Tonight shows. I forget that guy's name now that hosted that show, but he was on one of those first ever shows. So there's video footage of him talking about Antarctica before our government put the kibosh on it, where nobody could talk about it and everything was kept secret. This was before that, when he was still being celebrated for going there and coming back alive. And just listen to some of the things he says about what's there. It's fascinating. Anyway, last week Paul was on a boat, and that boat had a sign on it by the people who made the boat, and I made mention of it because it's written in the Bible. Castor and Pollock were the two names given who made that boat. Now, do a little research, and you'll find out who Castor and Pollock is, and I'm about to tell you. Castor and Pollock were twin half-brothers in Greek and Roman mythology. Now keep in mind that our country is the only country that teaches mythology as myth. Every other country teaches it as history because it happened. So, Castor and Pollock were half-twin brothers. They had the same mother, but two separate fathers. I'll explain that to you in just a minute. This should sound familiar to you because this has happened before in the Bible, and it will happen again in the Bible. There's several instances of it. Known together as the Dioscuri, that's the name of the two brothers together. Their mother was Leda. They had different fathers. Castor was the mortal son of Tyndareus. Sorry, can't read. He was the king of Sparta. You know the story of the 300 soldiers that took on Xerxes' army? He was the king of those people. And Pollock was a divine son of Zeus. Zeus, who was the son of Kronos, who was an original Titan, one of the original fallen angels, who seduced Leda in the guise of a swan. Funny how they take the form of an animal to seduce a woman, kind of like turning into a snake and whispering sweet nothings into your ear. This one turned into a swan. The pair are thus an example of heteropaternal superfundication. What does that mean? though accounts of their birth are varied, they are sometimes said to have been born from an egg. Egg is the symbol of life, if you don't know. It's symbolic in other cultures, such as the Chinese culture. Along with their twin sisters, Helen, who is Helen of Troy, which they've recently found Troy and know that it was a real place. There you go. That's Castor and Pollux. They were real people. They lived at the time of Jesus, or shortly before Jesus, and their sister was Helen of Troy. Now, what is heteropaternal superfundication mean? Superfundication is the fertilization of two or more ova from the same cycle by sperm from separate acts of sexual intercourse, which can lead to twin babies from two separate biological fathers. This is a medical certainty. It happens. Happens in dogs a lot, but it happens in people too. They have a term for it. The term superfundication is derived from the word fecund, meaning the ability to produce offspring. Homopaternal superfundication refers to the fertilization of two separate ova from the same father, leading to fraternal twins. That's twins that have the same father but are different. While heteropaternal superfundication is referred to as a form of atypical twinning, where genetically the twins are half-siblings sharing the same mother but with different fathers. Where else has this occurred in the Bible? It occurred during Adam and Eve's first birth. So, you've heard me teach that Cain was not Adam's son. Cain was Satan's son, which is why he's not mentioned in Adam's genealogy, and also why Jesus called his offspring, you are of your father the devil, the father of lies. He was speaking to a Kenite who was an offspring of Cain. So Abel was Adam's son. He wasn't mentioned in Adam's genealogy because he died before he had children. But Seth was mentioned, and if Abel had lived, he would have been mentioned. So who else has this happened to? How about Romulus and Remus, who are the founders of Rome, who were said to have been raised by wolves, and also have said to have been of divine birth, that their father was one of the demigods also, and then raised by wolves. Notice how there's an animal in the picture of all these things. So for those of you who say that the Bible is just a book written by old people who couldn't possibly understand anything, know that these books were written thousands of years apart, yet hold the same details from different stories across different peoples, across different portions of the earth at different times, but it's the same events. Why is that? Because it happened, and history repeats itself. Because the plan has been the plan since the beginning, and the trying to mess up that plan is the same adversary since the beginning. And every time he tries with the same methods. Wow, I learned something new. Thanks, Jake. You're absolutely welcome. That's why I'm here, to teach. So know that Cain and Abel, Castor and Pollux, Romulus and Remus, and probably a couple of other people in the history of the world are products of heteropaternal superfundication, which means they had the same mother but separate fathers. That's why you see some women have one white baby and one black baby. Trust me when I tell you there was some odd sperm in the mix there. And if you think that don't happen, consult your local physician and ask him. I guarantee you it happens more than you think it does. Jack Parr was the host. Yes, he was. That's very good. So yeah, there's a lot of interesting things, and I found it peculiar last week when we were reading that book that they called the names of the people who made that boat. Why was that important? Because those people were pointing to a reality. This is where Paul is teaching the Word of God at, in this land who worship Zeus, or some form of Zeus. And the men who are said to be his son, or one of his sons, is building these boats that Paul was on. And that's just an interesting little tidbit. They don't go into detail, they just throw the names out. But that's who built the boat, or at least that's the names they used when they built the boat. That's who they dedicated the boat to. That was on the placard on the boat. And so it's teaching you that Paul is trying to subvert what's already been broken. He's trying to get back what the devil has already taken from God by spreading the word of Christ. Cool, thanks for the info. I never knew that. Well, now you know. And knowing is half the battle. It's interesting. But that also proves my point about Adam and Eve. That's always been my theory, and I've proven it. Because it doesn't make any sense any other way. Why was Satan there in the first place? What was his purpose in seducing Eve? And what was the product of that? What purpose would he have to do that? Other than to corrupt the seed of mankind, which was intended to be Christ. I don't know what kind of God he was. I don't think so. I think he was the God of thunder and lightning. Yeah, because Zeus had a lightning bolt. If you guys will excuse me for 1 minute, I have to fix something real quick. I'll be right back, and then I'll play you some music. Yeah, Poseidon was of the ocean. I'll be right back. Remember? Needed that. Because that's exactly it. Corrupt. Yes. Yes, those old gods are the thing that corrupted the world. And everything except for Noah and his family had gotten corrupted at one point. He was the only one left towing the mark, walking the line. And so God destroyed the world, because you're not supposed to worship those false gods, because they're not really gods. They're really fallen angels. Or at least that's my take on it. I think that's their origin. Those were the men of renown, the men of old, the men that we call myth today, which were very much real. Why do you think they built all of those sites, all of those memorials and temples to them if they weren't real? Per capita, they built more temples than we have churches if you consider the amount of people involved. Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. It's as if I never left. And I have a fresh hot cup of coffee to boot. And I got to pee, which was important. I needed it. So, anyway, what I'm trying to tell you is everything is connected. Everything is part of the same story. All of these stories that exist throughout the world, some people have tried to claim that it's plagiarism. It's not plagiarism. The Bible didn't steal from other stories that existed before the Bible was written. The Bible is just a completion of the versions of stories. Those are all parts of stories that happened during the same periods of time that the Bible's talking about. And they got written about by other people in other documents, just like they were written about in the Bible. That's the difference. See, science is very one-dimensional. It works on paper, but it don't work when you put it into reality. Because these are real people who really existed and had full lives and, believed different things. And many people wrote about the same events. And that's where we get so many different religions and so many different legends and things like that. But they're all from the same events. And they're all the same story. So if you took all the world's religions and smushed them all together, you would have something akin to something close to the truth. Even our religion is splintered. Even our religion is just a version, a split, a peek into the whole thing. And why that is because men are divided. And a divided house cannot stand. Christ said as much. So there you go. What does all that mean? It just means that the story's a lot more complicated and a lot bigger than anyone wants to admit, or that anyone wants to put any effort into learning, because there's a lot of it. There's a lot of details. And a lot of people fall short of understanding. So what would you like to hear? What can I play for you this fine evening? Was busy, but I'm back. Well, I'm glad you're here. We just went through a whole rigmarole. You missed it. I gave out the secrets of the universe, and you weren't here to hear them. Just kidding. But I was talking about a boat. So you guys are having stuffed crust pizza and chicken wings tonight, huh? I'm going to have the other part of the chicken tonight. The egg. Might make me a hoe cake. Eat some overnight eggs. Play one that rocks. I can do that. With the men and boys on the Indian and night, yeah. She moved down here the age of 18, blew the boys away beyond all they ever seen. I was introduced and the girls started cruising. She said, I dig you, Jake. We gotta keep moving on. We gotta keep moving on, yo. Last dance with Mary Jane. One more time to kill the pain. I feel summer creeping in and I'm tired of this town again. Screwing up, tired of being down, I'm tired of myself and I'm tired of this town. Oh my, oh hell yeah. Honey, take off that party dress. I said buy me a drink, sing me a song, take me as I am, I won't stay long. Last dance with Mary Jane, one more time to kill the pain. Summer creeping in and I'm tired of this town again. There you go. What you got next? What you want?
but she can't take you anyway. You don't already know how to go. 'Cause I get a peaceful, easy feeling. I know you won't let me down, 'cause I'm already standing on the ground. Whoa, whoa. I get this feeling I may know you as a lover and a friend. This voice keeps whispering in my other ear, telling me I may never see you again. 'Cause I got a peaceful, easy feeling. I know you won't let me down, 'cause I'm already standing. Yeah, I'm already standing. Oh, I'm already standing on the ground. Thank you very much. So you play drums and piano, huh? Me too. Awesome. And your dad plays. That's pretty cool. Thank you, sir. I'm grateful. If only the sucker could sing, it'd be all right. Well, I used to could. I'm old now, so it don't really matter. I'm old and I smoke too much.
like every weekend I was ready to go down. Yeah, get a little toe up, so I called my hoes up to meet me out on the town. Wild Man Willie said I'd like to really, but Idol was on TV. Ray had a date with his wife and they quit drinking, but they didn't tell me. Am I the only one that wants to have fun tonight? Is there anybody out there who wants to have a cold beer, kick it till the morning light? I have to raise hell all by myself, I will, but y'all, that ain't right. It's time to get it on. Am I the only one that wants to have fun tonight? It was Friday in the Solo, down to Silverados, a joint drinking like a joke. In come this cutie with a rock and roll beauty, and starting out through the door. He yelled, who wants to dance? And fired up the band with a Franklin and a shot of Patron. She looked right at me, said, what's it gonna be? Are you gonna let me party alone? Am I the only one that wants to have fun tonight? Is there anybody out there who wants to have a cold beer, kick it till the morning light? If I have to raise hell all by myself, well, but y'all, that ain't right. It's time to get it on. Am I the only one that wants to have fun tonight? Am I the only one that wants to have fun tonight? Is there anybody out there who wants to have a cold beer, kick it till the morning light? If I had to raise hell all by myself, I will, but y'all, that ain't right. It's time to get it on. Am I the only one that wants to have fun tonight? Yeah, come on, get your good time on. Let's have a little fun tonight. Come on, get your good time on. Come on, get your good time on. Come on. All right, don't leave me hanging. What you guys want to hear? You set them up, I'll knock them down. Set them up, Joe. We'll have them walking the floor. This is my workhorse. It's an Alvarez. Old Spanish guitar. I like it. Not the best sounding guitar, but she plays like a dream. Something from Guthrie. Now I gotta remember it. Hold on. That you want down at Allison's restaurant. You can get anything that you want at Allison's restaurant. You can walk around back about a mile or two down the railroad tracks. You meet, you know the roosters crow. Mama cooking in the kitchen, and Arthur Godfrey on the radio. Me and Dad were just like strangers. We never did see eye to eye. Came to blows one Sunday morning, so I packed my bags and I said goodbye. When you leave that way, you can never come back. So on rolling a torn up track, all through eternity, you roam me alone. When you leave that way, you can never come home. But I killed a man in Knoxville when he caught me with his wife. And I told the preacher man to leave me alone. When he came to read my rights, he said, son, when you leave this way, you can never come back. So I rolled on the torn up track, all through eternity, you roam me alone. When you leave this way, you can never come home. All through eternity, you roam me alone. When you leave this way, you can never come home. There you go. I kicked the habit of smoking back some time ago. I tried the hard stuff, but I had to let all that go. And I use lifesavers to help me get off cigarettes. But you know, for your love, I ain't found a lifesaver yet. I've grown cold turkey, 'cause there's not even one kiss a day. And old habits like you are hard to break. Old habits like you are hard to break. Love with someone new is so hard to make. I have grown used to you and all of your ways. No habits like you are hard to break. There's an old song for you. You got me in a mood already. Much obliged yourself. Captain Kangaroo. Counting flowers on the wall doesn't bother me at all. Smoking cigarettes till dawn. Play a deck of 21. Smoking cigarettes and watching Captain Kangaroo. And don't tell me I've nothing to lose. Don't tell me I've nothing to lose. I don't know the words of this song, that's alright with me. What's the name of that tune? I don't know. Captain Kangaroo's Flowers on the Wall, that's what it is. Only reason I know it's because it's in the movie Pulp Fiction. And I heard it when I was a kid. I heard lots of things when I was a kid. Some of it even stuck. Like, you make me cry. You say goodbye, ain't that a shame? My tears fell like rain. Ain't that a shame? You're the one to blame. Oh well, you're gone. Goodbye. So long, ain't that a shame? My tears fell like rain. On Blueberry Hill, I found my thrill. On Blueberry Hill. Alright, enough joking around, let's get serious. You have a very unusual taste in songs, Great Sky Troll. When I first knew you, you were into the Doors. And then you're into weird oldies. You better believe it. That must say something about your growing up. The Doors. Keep your eyes on the road, your hands upon the wheel. Keep your eyes on the road, your hands upon the wheel. Yeah, we're going to the roadhouse and have ourselves a real good time. Back of the roadhouse, I got some bungalows. I said the back of the roadhouse, I got some bungalows. Yeah. Hey, but that's so the people, you know they get down low. Let it roll, baby, roll. Let it roll, baby, roll. Let it roll, baby, roll. Let it roll all night long. Passion lady, passion lady, give up your vow, give up your vow. I said save our city, you know, save our city. I know. Let it roll, baby, roll. Let it roll, baby, roll. Let it roll, baby, roll. Let it roll all night long. You gotta roll, roll, roll. You gotta sell your soul. No, no. Roll, roll, roll. You gotta fill your soul. No, no. Roll, roll, roll. You gotta fill your soul. You gotta hate on a beat on a conk on a hate on a piece on a no, no, hate on. Keep up the rule, yeah, right. Let it roll, baby, roll. Let it roll, baby, roll. Let it roll, baby, roll. Let it roll all night long. There's you some Doors. The Doors. Take a break for a minute. Smoke a little. How you like how this is shaping up? April, what you got? You heard my rock now. You heard my country. You heard my oldies. Thank you. You're welcome. What else you got? April, Kevin, you guys want to hear anything in particular? Diego? Great indoors concert, Jake. You're certainly welcome. I wish I wasn't quite so scratchy, but the weather's really cold up here and it's really dry. So I'm very scratchy today. But it's okay. I ain't always like that. Sometimes I'm golden, and sometimes it's terrible. I really admire you taking the time to play for us. Hey, my whole purpose here is to entertain you. I want you to have a good time. That's what I'm here for. And I hope you're having a good time. And thank you for the compliment. I'm not big-headed. I ain't a stage hog or anything. I don't require hundreds of dollars every time I open my mouth. I used to, but I don't need all that. What I need is people to enjoy what I do. And if you do, then that's great. You sure know how to entertain. Thank you, sir. I'm trying. Admitted, it's a lot easier with a full band and a whole light show and, 300 people, but just me and a camera, I'm working on it. I'm getting better at it. It's a lot less tiring, I'll give you that. A lot less sweat involved. If the economy ever opens back up, there's a piano place by an African-American composer named Scott Joplin called The Entertainer. Are you talking about, that thing? I may have heard it. Only I need 2 guitars to pull it off. It's a little different on the piano. Spread out. One guy's going. And the other guy's going. One scotch, one bourbon, and one beer. I drank alone. Yeah, nobody else. Yeah, you know when I drink alone, I prefer to be by myself. I drink alone. Yeah, with nobody else. Cause you know when I drink alone, I prefer to be by myself. was the first piano composition I ever heard. He was indeed a great composer, Kevin. No eating prawns. They're bad for gout. That's right. They are bad for gout. Yeah, I like some compositions here and there. I do like classical music. But my mind has always been more rock and roll oriented for the simple fact that that's where the money was at for me. So that's what I focused on. That being said, I do have an eclectic taste in music, and I go all over the board, you know, from George Jones and Metallica and everything in between. You know, like, sweet dreams are made of these. Who am I to disagree? Travel the world and the 7 seas. Somebody's looking for something. Somebody wants to abuse you. Somebody wants to be abused by you. Yeah, I do all kinds of stuff. Kind of hard to do on an acoustic guitar, but you know, you get the point. First produced my pistol, then produced my rapier. I said, stand and deliver, or the devil he may take ya. My shell ring, dama-doo-dama-da. Whack for my daddy-o, whack for my daddy-o. There's whiskey in the jar. Well, you tell me what I can do for you and I'll do it, Diego. I'm sorry you had a rough day. We all have those from time to time, and I know how it is. Jake came to the rescue, and now I'm chilling. Chilling like a villain. I'm glad you're having a good time, man. I'm having a good time, too. I think everybody else is gone. Nobody said anything in a while. No, they're still here, listening. Here's a song I wrote. April likes this one. Easter Sunday at the small cafe. The way waitress caught my eye. I was walking right towards me. I was mesmerized. She smiled and gave me a telephone number. Said, won't you call me tonight? It might have been Easter Sunday, but the sparks were flying like the 4th of July. Looks can be deceiving. Fell into her innocent eyes. No matter what I believe in, dared to commit a plan of surmise. Hook, line, and sinker out before those eyes. It was one hell of a night. 6 a.m. the very next day, we're both lying in bed. I looked down into my surprise. We both had rings on our left hand. We got married at the courthouse. It was a kind of a joke. I don't know what's happening here, but it's sure to end in fire and smoke. Looks can be deceiving. Fell into those innocent eyes. No matter what I believe in, dared to commit a plan of surmise. Hook, line, and sinker out before her lies. It was one hell of a night. One hell of a night. I'm still here and still sober. That's no good. I'm here just have my hands full. Me too. Someone told me long ago, there's a calm before the storm. I know it's been raining for some time. Even then, so it goes. Living fast, the circle grows. I know, falling down like water. I You say you're sorry once again, love. You treated me so unkind. May it rest in peace, a quiet love. Walk softly on this heart of mine. Walk softly on this heart of mine, love. Let it rest in peace, a quiet love. Walk softly on this heart of mine. Walk softly on this heart of mine. Let's all go down to Doom's Walker. Let's all go down to Doom's Walker. You need a slow burger fry and a minor ski. Bring it on down to my baby and me. Let everybody know that minute done. Live it up fun and trying to be good. We never could read or write so well, but you can play the guitar just like a ringing the bell. People come from all around. Did you hear Johnny play? Get us some go down. Go, go. Go, Johnny, go as you go. Go, Johnny, go, go, go. Go, Johnny, go as you go. Go, Johnny, go as you go. Johnny, be good. All right, I'm getting bored. Give me a song. I need a song. And you need to be drunker. I sound better when you're drunk. You want upbeat, slow, fast, or half-assed? Day by day, we just let love walk away. And I'll be the first to say I was glad to see it go. And day by day, ever since you went away, I'm finding I'm still missing you. But I've just gotta know, does that blue moon ever shine on you? I wanna hold you close to me, feel just like it used to be. And baby, if you feel like I do, you can come to me. Does that blue moon ever shine on you? Do I know any Elvis? I know any Elvis. You want a fast one or a slow one? You want a fast one or a slow one? I got a woman way across town. She's good to me. Oh, yeah. I got a woman way across town. She's good to me. Oh, she's my baby. She's my life. I got a woman way across town. She's good to me. Oh, yeah. I got a woman. She way across town. She good to me. Oh, yeah. We're caught in a trap. Can't walk out because I love you too much, baby. Why can't you see, oh, what you're doing to me? When you don't believe a word I'm saying. We cannot build our dreams on suspicious minds. We cannot live together, baby, on suspicious minds. There's no friend I know stop by to say hello. Can't you see these tears are real? I'm crying. Well, here we go again. Oh, asking where I've been. You don't believe a word I'm saying. We cannot build our dreams on suspicious minds. We cannot live together, baby, with suspicious minds. Oh, let our love survive. I'll dry those teardrops from your eyes. Don't let a good thing die, oh no. Cause you know, honey, I never lie to you. Oh no, not much anyway. Caught in the trap. Can't walk out because I love you too much, baby. Why can't you see? That's for it. Yeah, I know some Elvis. Wise men say only fools rush in, but I can't help falling in love with you. Shall I stay? Would it be a sin if I can't help falling in love with you? Like a river flows Elvis. Born in the heat of the desert, Mama died giving me birth. It's been one hill after another. I climbed them all one by one. Oh, but this time, Lord, you gave me a mountain. May never climb. Is up here any longer. Gave me a mountain this Okay, I'm done with Elvis. What else you got? Now, flash. News flash. Biden appoints himself the Fuhrer by accident. He thought he was German. Wouldn't surprise me after his tumble down the Air Force One the other day. Take that, Joe Biden. He trips 3 times on the steps up the way into the airplane. Yet they didn't say anything on the news, hardly. But Trump walks slowly down a ramp with dress shoes on in the rain, and it was front page news for a solid week. Go figure. Interesting. Things that make you go, what? Kevin Biden is suffering from dementia. He hasn't even held a stable press conference yet. That's a fact. He almost stumbled off the plane. His disease is worrying me. It's called falling upwards. Yeah. It's called something, all right. It's called, he shouldn't have won that election. That's what it's called. But he did, and here we are, so there you go. Oh, I wish my voice was good enough to actually play some Elvis for you. I used to could do it, but right now it ain't looking so good. Probably help if I had a microphone and an hour worth of setup time to get into the mood and, you know, all the energy from the crowd. That probably helps. No, he achieved. He didn't win. Oh, Trump won that election, but he took it. I saw it happen. I was up at 3:30 in the morning when it occurred. It was quite an interesting night, that's for sure. But you never know about a feller. I was watching a Christian channel today, and I came across an atheist and an anti-Christian dude who follows the atheist dude, Jake Destroyed, on Genesis. He turned out to be a supporter of Bernie Sanders. That don't surprise me in the slightest bit. He was insulting Christians and myself. Well, he shouldn't do that. Yep, that guy could be quite insulting at times. But you know what? We gave him a good what for and let him know that there's more than one way to think. And that's what's important. And anybody that sees this channel will inevitably see mine. So they'll have to look through both. That's the hope anyway. And I visited his YouTube profile and was subscribed to a lot of atheists and Christian hating channels. And he was subscribed to a lot of Christian hating channels. Yeah, that don't surprise me either. This guy's got it bad for God. He don't like him at all. Most atheists are that way, angry at God, for one reason or another. They'll find out soon enough what God's all about. Are you gone? Have a good night. I'm not far behind you. I just wanted to stay on a little longer tonight and play a little more so I could cover up for Wednesday. But thank you for hanging with me. Tell April I love her. Apparently she's already gone. Angry and apathetic. Or apathetic. I don't know which. A little of both, I suppose. I found out, though, that most atheists, not all, but most atheists are not actually atheists. They're just claiming that because they either A, don't understand fully what's going on, B, have decided not to look into it and let chips fall where they may, C, are mad at God and don't want to embrace him, or all of the above. Most atheists. Some are actually agnostic and believe in nothing. Actually are not agnostic. They are actually atheists and they believe in nothing. Most atheists are actually agnostic. But a person who believes in nothing is a fool. Any high society will tell you that. Any organized man group, any higher functioning brain will tell you that you have to believe in something, because belief is part of the thing that makes this thing run. We're programmed to believe. It's in our nature. If you don't believe in anything, then you're going against your own making. That's not a good place to be. A wise man believes in something. Acknowledges some form of higher power. And I don't know about you, but I suffer no fools. In my opinion, if you don't believe in something, that tells me you haven't thought about it enough. You hadn't put any actual real world thinking into the situation at hand. That tells me that you've chosen to opt out. And in my opinion, if you're not part of the race, then you don't have any right to complain about how the race is run. That's just like voting. If you don't vote, then you don't have a right to bitch about who's president. Unless you have a dog in the fight. You know what I'm saying? You can't have your cake and eat it too. You can't straddle of a fence. You have to pick a side. And a person who believes in absolutely nothing, who refuses to believe there's any form of higher power, that they are themselves the God or the only authority in their life, in my opinion, that person hasn't put enough thought into their life. They hadn't seen enough. They hadn't been through enough. I felt pity for that dude. He lives a life without God and with hatred in his heart. That's right. Nope, everyone don't have a right to bitch. If you don't have a dog in the fight, you do not have a right to bitch. I'm sorry, you don't. If you, like when it comes to the president, I'm just using that as an example. There's all kinds of things. If you don't have a side, then you don't have anything to say because you don't know about either side. If you have something to say, then you're just running off at the mouth, childishly. When it comes to God, if you choose to believe in nothing, then you have no right to comment on what I believe, you know. Just like I don't have any right to comment on what you believe. I don't go around teaching atheism. I don't claim to know what atheists teach. I don't claim to put any stock into what they believe. They're just wrong. Somebody's wrong. Put it that way. It could be me, but I believe what I believe wholeheartedly. I'm convicted. I've done the research. I've seen enough evidence to satisfy my curious mind, and you've known me a long time. You know I have a very curious mind. If it's satisfying enough to me, that should warrant at least a second look. If it don't, then I'm not as well known as I thought I was. But I don't think that everybody has a right to bitch. Children don't have a right to bitch because they haven't lived a life yet. People that don't have a job don't have a right to bitch because they're not in the workforce. You see what I'm saying? It's not a personal thing. It's a whether you're part of the fight or not. Whether you're part of the thing you're bitching about. If you're on the sidelines, then all you're doing is talking. You're not contributing to either side. I would rather an atheist come at me than a fool. Because at least an atheist believes what he believes. Or thinks he does. And it's my job to convince him otherwise. Or not. Maybe he can convince me. Maybe he can pull me to his side. Take a lot of convincing, but it's possible. I'm open-minded. You show me one thing that's wrong with what I believe, and I'll convert right here and now. I'll denounce everything I believe. Because if one thing is wrong, everything is wrong. A God that would make one mistake is not a God I want to worship. I mean, even one lie, one falsehood, and then none of it's worth believing. And I've been looking for the better part of 35 years, and I hadn't found it yet. I haven't always been as faithful as I am at this very moment, either. I've been through the whole gambit of what I believe, you know, from not believing on up to believing. It ain't like I just came out this way. I think everybody has to go through that little period of doubt. Some people dig deeper. Some people let it slide. I don't know why they do. They just do. Something happens. Maybe they have a moment in their life that they're touched by something, or maybe it just doesn't sit square with them or whatever. I don't know. But I think everybody goes through a moment of doubt and a moment of clarity. Anyway, that's enough grandstanding. I love you guys, and I'll see you Sunday with the Old Testament. I'll be there with bells on. You guys have a great night. I love you. God bless you. Thanks for hanging with me so long. Get some rest. Be humble. Be happy. Be strong. Be courteous. But above all, be